Welcome to Team Building Cultures, the podcast designed to deliver tools and tips for improving team communication, collaboration, and fostering a culture where teams thrive. Now, here's your host, Beverly Hathorn, owner of Strategic HR Consultants.
Hello, all, and thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Team Building Cultures. Today, my guest, Mr. Matthew Rolnick, is the VP of Innovation and Strategy at Yaymaker. Yay! He specializes in team building events and best known for paint nights and other creative experiences. He's an Amazon best-selling author. He's a LinkedIn top entrepreneurship voice, a Udemy instructor with 130,000 students, and he's a super connector of team building events. He's a speaker and a member of the Chicagoland Real Estate. So thank you so much for joining me today, Matt. I'm really excited to talk to you. You're going to talk to us about more ideas to connect with teams and colleagues and fun building team events. Fun team building events, and the importance of play. Yes. So let's get right into it. Tell us about what you do at Yaymaker. Yay.
Yay.
I feel compelled to say that every time you. Yeah.
Well, love it. Well, thanks, Beverly. Love what you're doing, and you're being a thought leader when it comes to corporate culture, and I've been following your podcast and everything. So I appreciate being a guest on your show. But Yaymaker, we do corporate team building events is what we do. We're best known for paint night. We were the original paint night 10 years ago. We started at a bar in Boston. People learned how to paint. They ate, they drank, they had a great time. Now we've done over 300,000 events. We do events in person, virtually, or a hybrid. So we're best known for our creative events like paint nights and plant nights and making ukuleles. But we have a lot of fun virtual experiences like murder mysteries and trivia. We work with celebrities. We also, we're all about yay and having fun, but we've noticed a lot of companies also the importance of mental health, diversity, equity, inclusion. So we've also curated dozens of speakers when it comes to diversity, equity, inclusion, and mental health. But really, any company, any group that's looking to have a team building experience, we try to provide that.
Awesome. Sounds wonderful. Tell us about, because we live in a virtual world right now, and even though a lot of employees have been called back into the office, there's still a lot of them working virtually. So tell us about some of the virtual team building events you can create, because we struggle to get everybody together virtually. So tell us about that, some of those.
Absolutely, yes. So we started, as I said, doing all these creative in person. Once the pandemic hit, we had to do virtual. So we started with our paint nights and plant nights, and we shipped the supplies directly to employees at their homes. And because we work with hundreds of local artists, we worked with some of the best of our best to do them virtually. So they'd be virtual hosts. So, but now we're best known for our trivias, our paint nights, as I mentioned, our murder mysteries. We do mixologies. We have a game show type experiences. So we have, I'd say, dozens of different experiences. Ukulele making is very popular. We ship ukulele making to people. As I mentioned, our murder mystery, our actors and actresses are actually in England. So it's a very cool experience. We have something else called Code Crackers, where teams will virtually solve problems together and they can compete with each other with different teams. And that brings a lot of interesting dynamics of getting people to problem solve together, team bonding, a healthy competitiveness. So these are all things that we enjoy doing. But those, I'd say, are some of our most popular experiences, I'd say, virtually.
Oh yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. I've been here in Atlanta. We have as probably do most cities, but we have a murder mystery theater, and my husband and I attended one, and it was so fun. Everybody had a part. I was the killer, and And it was so fun because even my husband didn't know I was the killer, you know. So I really enjoy those murder mystery type things. There's so many twists and turns in it, and yeah, so I can see how that would be fun in bringing employees together, because we can't expect them to just work all the time. That becomes drudgery, and and you mentioned the mental health,
Mhm.
so tell us a little bit about how you work with those mental health, I guess, counselors or providers, or, what do you do in that arena?
So we work with again mental health and DEI speakers. So, for example, there's a woman named Ivy Watts, who was a college athlete, author, and speaker, and we've worked with her mostly virtually, where she'll speak on the importance of mental health, not beating yourself up, give yourself grace, and the importance of taking breaks when you need them. But she's an expert in when it comes to mental health, and she's done again virtual speaking events for us. So someone that's looking for a mental health speaker, we do that. We find some of just our creative experiences a great mental health break. So that's something else. One thing I wanted to mention, you mentioned Atlanta. We also have been able to work with some celebrities. So one of my favorite people to work with is Montel Jordan, who sings "This Is How We Do It."
Yeah.
He's based in Atlanta, but it's amazing whether somebody's 20 years old or 80 years old, they all seem to know that song. That was a number one hit in the 90s. And we've had him virtually kick off events and sing that. So that's been a lot of fun too. But we do have a couple, again, mental health speakers. Ivy Watts is the one I'd say we work the most with. But that's when companies have, we also have meditation workshops too. And that's something that's like mindfulness meditation or gratitude type workshops. And we partner with a company, Liberate, and that's been really exciting. People have seemed to really enjoy and connect with that as well.
Oh, yeah. I bet those meditation workshops are really nice, especially, if you get to have them like in the middle of your day. I think that mental health and employee well-being are some areas that sometimes get overlooked, especially when you're dealing with the virtual world, because I know that a lot of employees have said they get more done at home, which sounds wonderful, but that translates to I sit there and work all day. I grab a quick sandwich and then I'm back to work, and that may or may not, depending on what you're doing, that may or may not be a good thing. So we do need to make sure that they're taking their breaks, that we're making things like vacation time accessible for them, that they're taking their sick time. One of the other little caveats to working from home is that employees don't take as much sick time. Statistics have proven that they don't take as much sick time, which again may or may not be a good thing. That kind of translates to they're working when they're sick. They're working when, they're probably not feeling well. So they may feel well enough to work, but not feel well enough to go out into the traffic and the hustle and bustle of the day. But still, in some cases, they may need to be taking that time off. So that's, sometimes that's a bit of a concern. But if we look at their well being and their mental health, in the fashion that you mentioned it, to make sure that they have the breaks and they take the time to play and they have the fun to do some things. So tell us about your Udemy instruction. What courses do you instruct? What courses do you have?
So I did a couple courses. One was on entrepreneurship. Um, and then I did another one on persuasive writing. And then I also did one on just social media when Clubhouse was getting really big. And I'm trying to work on another one about being a super connector, something I'm working on. But the entrepreneurship and the persuasive writing was, were two that I did. And, I talked a little bit about, my journey with Yaymaker and PayNet, but really trying to help all entrepreneurs, big and small, with tips and advice.
Oh, yeah. So there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there listening, I'm sure. What little tidbits can you give us? What little things can you just drop to us right now that we could, maybe
Yeah.
put into action quickly?
Well, I think for people who have entrepreneurial ambitions, which I think a lot of people do, I think you want to be honest with yourself. Like, is there an expertise or a passion that you have? Um, so there's Lisa Garcia, who's actually my wife's cousin, was working full time, and she's very good at organizing. She wanted to be a professional organizer. Just a couple years ago, she has dramatically grown her business where she's put herself in a position now to do this full time. And I think it's a combination. Tips I'd have is one, find a mentor. That's always really important. Write out a game plan or make some goals for yourself. Ask the people who know you the best about what they like, what they think your strengths and weaknesses are, and learn that. And wherever you think you might have gaps, try to see if there's other people that can help you with it. So, but I believe in a crawl, walk, run approach where you start slowly, you have a small goal where maybe it's something you can do on the side and you can get a few customers and you can get their feedback and then you can build from that and grow it. So I don't believe I'm just trying to take on the world at once. I believe if you have an interest or a passion, take a first step, find a mentor, try to find a few clients, and then reassess.
Oh, definitely. As an entrepreneur, I am in total alignment with everything that you said, particularly where you say find a mentor. Even though you might do this thing, you need help putting that thing into action
Mhm.
because being able to do the thing is one part of it, but putting that thing into action to make it work for you, you probably need a little help with that. And I say, you say to like kind of cover your gaps or whatever. I say do what you do best and outsource the rest. If you're not a content writer, get one. If you if you're not a marketer, get one for yourself,
Absolutely.
and make sure that you cover those gaps because you can't do it all. If you're not an accountant, get a software or get an accountant or somebody who can do that for you. And definitely the crawl, walk, run. You
Mhm.
have to start off slow, even though you have expectations of conquering the world, and you
Mhm.
just might do that. But it's not going to be done in that one day. So, yeah, those are great tips for entrepreneurs. And then another thing that you mentioned, social media. Oh my God, there's so many perspectives and various ideas, as many as there are platforms. You
Mhm.
know, what would you tell us if you could give us a few little tips? What would you tell us about social media and how to be successful there?
Well, this is very personal depending on the person and what someone's business or goals are. For me, I love LinkedIn just because you have 900 million professionals. It's a professional platform. I found it very successful in making new connections, new relationships, new clients. I share my book, how helped Yaymaker bring in 60 new corporate clients with the influence of LinkedIn. Um, However, I mean, I know several entrepreneurs and people that use TikTok, they use Instagram, they use Facebook. I mean, so all platforms can be powerful. I think in general, if you can really focus on one or two that you do really well and be yourself, but if you can outsource somebody to help you, that's great. I just encourage people not to use generic content, but use something that's very authentic, yourself. And again, there's so many ideas and you can't do everything. My wife, does real estate in Chicago and she's always like, oh my God, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do that. And she's found a few niches that have really worked well for her. And I encourage her to keep leaning and keep growing in that. And for me, as I said, LinkedIn has been my main lane. But I do post a little bit on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I mean, I try to play, but again, I think in general, you really want to be a thought leader or an ambassador in one, and then maybe get some help in the others. But it's hard. It's hard to be everything to everyone. I mean, know your audience, know and think about the content you want to do, and I say really be a real influencer, try to be with one of them.
Oh yeah, I definitely I follow you on that. I prefer LinkedIn as well. I feel like that's where most of my clients and most of my interested parties will be on LinkedIn. I'm not very much for Facebook or TikTok, just simply because I just don't. That's just not where I migrate to. That's just not where I go. When I think of social media. But I do have some other friends who have been very successful on TikTok, which is kind of surprising to me, but they made it work
Yeah.
they made it work for them. So I just kind of try to stay as narrow as possible. I'm of the old adage, if you chase two rabbits, you won't catch either one.
There
So,
you go.
I just kind of stay. You can tell I'm a country girl, right?
Uh-huh.
so, so I just kind of stay, in maybe one lane once I find out something that works for me. So tell us what you think about the importance of play. We mentioned that earlier. So let's backtrack a little bit to that. What do you think about the importance of play?
Well, you hear all the time the importance of happy employees. Happy employees are more productive. They tend to stay longer. I was reading, there's a lot of different statistics, but I was looking at this Social Market Foundation. They said happy employees are 12% more productive. And happy salespeople are 37% more productive. So I do think in general, it's just important for whether you're the CEO or founder or HR or any manager or leader to ensure employees are happy. Now, you've mentioned several things. We were talking before the importance of professional development, salary, feeling valued and heard. These are all important things. I focus or index more, and my company does, on playtime. And this is, we think, if it's all work, no play, people are going to burn out, and that's again going to mental health. And so we think it's important once a month to take a break and do something fun, whether it's trivia, whether it's, I mean, not everything needs to be paid for too. You can do your own internal talent show and get people to showcase their things, and that can be fun and play or things like that. But we encourage, I mean, a company that's once a month doing an event, or after certain wins to celebrate, if they had a big initiative to break and celebrate, we think those are important things. But at least once a quarter to show some appreciation to employees and get them to play. And we find when employees play, there's a different dynamic that can kind of strengthen that relationship. So guards are down, you're seeing different aspects, more personalities. Again, some of our problem solving activities we find also brings people together and gets people to understand how they think and act and their values. But the general sense is happier employees are more productive employees, and it's just a win-win-win for everybody.
Most definitely. And happy employees, with me coming from the customer service arena, I can tell you that happy employees deliver a level of service to customers that excites customers and makes very happy and loyal customers and helps retain customers, which of course translates to profits, which of course,
Mm-hmm.
so, that happy employees, once you get your employee engagement up and your employees are happy, that is definitely a win-win across the entire organization and across the entire company. And I like that you said play strengthens relationships, because now you might see your leaders or your coworkers in a little bit of a different light. You might understand that they're not quite as staunchy or
Yep.
stiff as you've always imagined them to be. I've seen that happen several times in different I'll call them play events that we've had in the company. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe, is that her? Look at her, or did he just do that? I One particular thing comes to mind is we had this really kind of rigid, I'll say, leader, and she was very strict and very rigid. And the company went out for a picnic type event, and one of the things that we did was we had a hula hoop contest, and she won. I mean, she was really just, and we were so excited to see that she was such a fun person that we never knew, we never knew that side of her. And after that, I think that did a lot for her. We saw her in a different light. I think she presented a different side of herself after that, so that, I mean, that just worked out really great. So I can definitely see where play strengthens and changes relationships. And when you talk about the problem solving, that can kind of help people understand how their peers think and how they go about things. Sometimes people work at different levels of expectation. Some people like to have information at a high level. They just want the details. And other people, I mean, they just want the top, the skim off the top, the information. And other people want the details. They want to know the numbers and how we came about this and what it was before that. And, so, when you get into those problem solving, then you kind of understand how your peers and other people work. So
Absolutely.
yeah. All that's a lot of great information. So, VP of Innovation and Strategy at Yaymaker. Yeah.
Yay.
I'm tempted to say that every time I say Yaymaker. So cool. Yeah. So I see that you are making a special offer to our listeners today. You want to tell us about that?
Sure. Any team building event with any group of 15 or more will offer $100 off any event. I'll make sure to just give my LinkedIn contact info or my personal email. But if any of your listeners are wanting to do a team building event, happy to take $100 off. So that would be an offer that we're happy to share.
Okay. And wonderful. And so how would we go about getting in touch with you if we wanted to, plan some events, or we wanted to talk to you personally? Maybe we want to talk to you about some of your courses, or, maybe we want to learn just a little bit more about, what you do on LinkedIn, or, how would we reach you?
Sure, absolutely. So my LinkedIn, you can search for me, Matthew Rolnick, easy to find me on LinkedIn. And then my personal or my work email, mrolnick, ROLNICK at yaymaker.com. Anybody can connect with me through at mrolnick at yaymaker. Again, I love talking about corporate culture, our team building events. Anybody that ever wants to talk about ways of positioning themselves more on LinkedIn, I consider myself a LinkedIn strategist. So happy to talk to anybody and any entrepreneurs. I love talking to entrepreneurs and businesses as well. So LinkedIn or my email, happy to.
Wonderful. So, hey guys, listen, get in touch with Matt and, contact him at Yaymaker and find out, what events or opportunities he could help you with for your team to create more exciting and fun days and work days and events for your team, and just to lighten the load a little bit and make everything a little more enjoyable for your folks. And if you want to learn more about strategic HR consultants or team building cultures podcast, you can reach me at customermeasures.com or 877-272-7711. I am Beverly Hathorn, your host, and I'm signing off with my guest, Matthew Rolnick, the VP of Innovation and Strategy at Yaymaker. So
thank you so much, Beverly.
Thanks, Matt. Your energy is great. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Team Building Cultures. We hope we have delivered helpful and enlightening information to help you create your dream team. Join us next time.